Hare Krishna, devotees, Prabhujis and Matajis, welcome to today's class. 18 days, Bhagavad Gita in 18 days. So let us be grateful to His Grace, Namnis Das Prabhuji, President of ISKCON Temple, Kulai, Mangalore, by whose grace and mercy we are able to use this platform and talk about message of Lord Krishna to all of you. So today is Thursday. So let us, day one we covered first chapter 1, chapter 2, and today is third day. We are on Karma Yoga. The name of the chapter is Karma Yoga. So before we start, let us pray to Shri Radha Gomiji, who are the presiding deity at the temple, ISKCON Temple, Mangalore. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjan-Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapeshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai O Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे. So welcome to today's class. Now before we proceed, just very quick recap. Two chapters we have heard so far. What is the name of the first chapter? Anyone could unmute and answer, please? Arjun Vishad Yog. And in Bhagavad Gita as it is, written by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What is the name given to the first chapter in Bhagavad Gita as it is? Observing the armies in the battlefield. That is the title to Arjun Vishad Yoga. And what was the name of the second chapter?
Sankhya Yoga.
No, not Sankhya Yoga. Any Matajis? We have to be very attentive listening to, because that is, I shall be reviewing previous days topic definitely every time. So what was it? Anyone could just unmute and tell what was the name of the second chapter?
Gita summarize
contents of Gita, contents of Bhagavad Gita summarized, or Gita Saransh. That was the first name of the second chapter. So we covered second chapter yesterday. And what were the main points in the second chapter? What is the main content?
About the soul. The soul is eternal.
Yeah.
We spoke about the justifications given by Lord Krishna to Arjun on his first 3 points of his doubt, why to fight.
Yeah. So he had
answers given by Lord Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, very nice. He had put five doubts about his not and gave the reasons that I can't fight because of these 5 reasons. And what were those 5 reasons?
Prabhuji, the 5 reasons were compassion, no enjoyment, sin, family traditions, and indecision.
Thank you, Prabhuji, very nice. So these were the 5 reasons which he gave. Now in second chapter, Lord Krishna answered the 4, including partly the 5th, the indecision also. So Lord Krishna says that compassion should be for the soul, not for the body. Second, no enjoyment. He gave answer that if you win, you enjoy the kingdom, you rule the kingdom, and you shall be enjoying the opulences. Secondly, if you get killed in the battlefield, then as a Kshatriya, you will go to heavens. So there is no loss in fighting, right? So there is consideration. So far as compassion is concerned, there is no reason. And there is enjoyment both ways, whether you win or lose. And third, it was sin. Now, Lord Krishna is God himself. He is guiding his devotee to fight. So when God is saying something, that act will not be a sin. We gave an example of Vibhishan and also Hanumanji, Lord Hanuman, that what they did apparently may not look very nice to have been done by them. But it was not a sin because it was done for the purpose of religion, holding the principles of religion. So that was not a sin. Then fourth was that the destruction of traditions of the dynasty or the family traditions. Then we had that example that Lord Krishna, because the Kauravas, killing Kauravas was not a destruction, because the sons or the progeny of Kauravas or Duryodhana and others, they will also be on the path of religion. So there shall be no destruction of dynasty because they were bad rulers and their bad actions were causing disturbance in society. So it was just cause to kill them. And for decision, he said that he himself is indecision. He said, Vyavsayatmika buddhi. He talked about Vyavsay, that you should be resolute in your action, resolute in your mind, and take firmly one course. Then he talked about multi-branch, Bahushakhai buddhir also he talked. So you converge your buddhi on one point, and this example of Arjuna seeing the eye of the bird was given in the form of a picture also. So firm determination, then the indecision shall be done. And now he is the biggest spiritual master. Lord Krishna himself is the biggest guru. So whatever he is saying, that has to be obeyed by Krishna. So these 5 questions were. But in the second chapter, Lord Krishna also mentioned that this, now we will take the picture here. Now here you can see this way, that way, the other way. If we reach such a crossing where there are multiple roads are going, then we are sometimes confused because we do not know. So what we do in these circumstances, we always seek the help of a person who is knowledgeable, who knows the thing, and no better person could be other than Krishna to solve this mystery for Arjuna. So now Arjuna is again confused. Despite listening all these things, Arjuna says, Tad ekam bad. Now tell me one thing. Why he was confused? What was the reason? Does anybody recollect? What was the confusion in the mind of Arjuna? Tad ekam bad, when he asked. Anyone? Any Prabhuji or Mataji's? So, tad ekam bad, he was confused because on one side, Krishna said that knowledge is better, knowledge is superior. Knowledge, Arjun understood that knowledge of soul and body, which Lord Krishna explained in chapter 2, he thought that soul is eternal. So, and that means this knowledge is enough for me. Why should I kill? So knowledge to him was inertia, no action. He should go and meditate in the forest, and because the person will die, these Kauravas will die by themselves. So in 2.11 to 30, he was mentioning about meditation or no karma. Knowledge of soul was given. Knowledge of soul means that intelligence is that not fight, go to forest, meditation, there is no need for work. And on the other hand, he justified the Lord Hanuman's section that you should work, action in Krishna consciousness should be done. So he was confused. What should I do? Whether I should fight or I should do renunciation and leave this battlefield and go on to meditation. Hare Krishna, anything? So that two paths, tad ekam bad. Arjun is confused now. What should I do? Should I act on the basis of the knowledge of soul and on the basis of intelligence that Lord Krishna has given me, or I should act I should act or I should do karma and fight in the battlefield. So this is the confusion. And in the mind of, in back of his mind, Arjuna was also thinking that the Lord Krishna himself had killed so many demons. And he asking me to kill my own family members who are very beloved to me. So that kind of compassion, material compassion was in his mind. So what is the knowledge? What is this knowledge? Knowledge is that devotional activity for the Lord. That is the real knowledge. Of course, the soul, what is the real knowledge? Because that I am not this body, I am the soul, and soul is eternal. It is not touched, cut, or wet, or even the air cannot touch it. So all this was the basic knowledge. So he should whether act like Hanuman or he should do renunciation and leave the battlefield. That was the question here in the mind of Karmendriyani Samyamam Ya Aste Manasa Ismaranam Indriyarthanan Vibuddhatma Mithyachara Sa Uchyate. So this means that one who restrains his senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on the sense of objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender or mithyachar. So in the previous slide, you just saw that this person is meditating in the forest, but he is not in a real state of sannyas or renunciation. While sitting here, he is thinking about his family members. So this kind of renunciation is contradicted or counteracted here. This is said to be the pretender or mithyachar. Mithyachar means false behavior. Because in the back of mind, you are thinking of your family members, worldly matters or material objects or material sense enjoyment, and apparently you are meditating. So this is mithyachar. Now this is a story. Such a person is deludes himself because his mind is always dwelling on the sense objects he wants to enjoy. So this picture, can anybody decipher what is this picture showing? Does anybody know the story of Jad Bharat or King Bharat? So you know that there was a very reputed and powerful king by the name of King Bharat. He ruled for millions of years and over the entire planet. What happens after ruling for many years? Then he distributes his kingdom into 4 parts and gives it to 4 sons and asks them to rule the country like him. And he retires to the forest. And he was a pious king, so he retires to the forest, makes a hermitage or cottage, and there he meditates upon self and does a lot of sacrifice and other things. But what happens one day? He notices a deer comes near him, she deer, and then the she deer, as approaching, she was thirsty and wanted to drink water, but at the same time there was a roar of lion. So this, instead of drinking water, the she deer jumps into the water and immediately dies and gives birth to a fawn or a baby deer. Now, this king was watching all this happening, so he just rushes to the water side, takes out this little fawn and cares fondly, lovingly, and also saves its life because the mother is already dead. Now, as this fawn was with the King Bharat, instead of meditating, he was devoting a lot of time for caring and fondling this fawn. So gradually he developed attachment. You will remember yesterday we talked about attachment also. Contemplation leads to attachment, attachment leads to lust, and lust leads to anger. Anger leads to delusion, and delusion leads to bewilderment of memory, and ultimately loss of intelligence, and the person falls down into material pool from the spiritual platform. Person falls down. And this is exactly what happened with King Bharat. So he was so attached that he was devoting less and less time on sacrifice and self-realization and tapas or austerity, rather thinking of deer only. So he was a very pious soul. So ultimately, when the time of death comes for the king, then he is worried about this deer. Who will look after the tiger may come and eat it up. So all these things, he was so badly attached to this deer that in the next life, form, he got the body of a deer. And since he was a sthit pragya person, he remembered his past life, and he remembered that he was a deer. He loved the fawn so much in the previous life. So, and also his royal background, everything he remembered. So this deer in second life gradually becomes old, and ultimately passes away. And this deer, since there is attachment, so again gets another life. Third life form is in the house of a rich Brahmana who had three sons already. This was King Bharat was the fourth son. And he was self-realized soul. He remembered everything about his sacrifice in the first life. So what happens that he keeps mum because he is a realized soul. He doesn't want to get into any material. He remembered what the mistake that he had done in the first birth. And then also second life also he remembered because of that attachment. He took birth in the animal life form of life. So he remembered everything. So the result is that he did not speak, he did not understand, did not utter a single word since his birth. And he grew up into a healthy young adult boy. Ultimately, what happens that the brother's father dies and the property is divided into four. But the brother, yes, Hare Krishna. So father dies and ultimately the property is divided into four, but the three brothers take his share also and they go to work. They said he's a fool, dumb person, doesn't know anything, so there is no use giving him land or his share. Ultimately, the ladies of the house, the three wives, they also used to mistreat him. So one day he was so tortured by these ladies and brothers that he leaves house and sits down under a tree. And he was just resting and meditating upon himself. By that time, king passes there. King is going to forest for hunting, and he was in a palanquin which was carried by the shoulders of four bearers, and one of the bearers suddenly falls sick. So these three persons, they can't carry the palanquin. They put it down and look for a person. Now they notice this Jad Bharat. His name was in the third birth. His name was the Jad Bharat. So they pick him up. He doesn't speak anything. They hold him, bring him to the king, and ask him that, look, now you carry this palanquin. Three of us will be here, and for fourth person you shall be here. So he keeps her quietly walking. Now what happens? King notices that the palanquin is not evenly moving. It is shaking sometimes, like because somebody is probably jumping out of the four persons. So the king shouts at this Jad Bharat. He says, "You are such a fool that you don't know that how to carry this palanquin." So it is first time that Jad Bharat speaks. He speaks very philosophical things. Are you tired? You should get away. All these things were said by the. Then Jad Bharat says, this body is not tired. The body may get tired, but the self is so pure, self is so strong, it is not cut by or touched by anything, it is eternal. So he talks philosophical, spiritual things, which king hears, and then he feels very sorry that he is a very elevated soul, probably a rishi or a sage, whom I had been saying fool and all these things. He apologizes, and ultimately he seeks pardon of this. So this is story of Jad Bharat. Now the central theme of the story of Jad Bharat is basically because one who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects. He was a perfect yogi after leaving his kingdom to dividing to his kingdom to four sons. And he was doing this kind of sacrifices, tapasya, but his mind was dwelling on this deer. So he fell down to the material pool ultimately, but he was elevated soul. So he remembered all his births, his actions, and he rectified in his third birth, and ultimately he got liberation. So this is how senses are to be controlled. The purpose was that the message of Lord Krishna to Arjuna was control your senses, don't think of material things, and fight. Now, then comes the cycle of sacrifice. We know Lord Krishna gave Vedas to Lord Brahma, right? And these Vedas contain the scripture, these scriptures, 4 Vedas. Vyasadeva, in fact, Yajur Veda was the first Veda. For the simplicity of understanding of a common person, he divided these 4 Vedas into 4 parts. We know those 4 parts. So Vedas describe the prescribed duties of each varna and ashrama, and also they talk about sacrifices, because these duties are for each varna, the duties are prescribed, and also the qualities are prescribed. So one of the main theme of Veda is performance of sacrifice for the pleasure of Lord. So when we act according to the Vedas injunctions, or as per the prescription of Vedas, our activities becomes purified. And when our activities become purified, then whatever we grow, that becomes also sanctified. So how this we perform sacrifice or the yajna. When we perform yajna, then the result is the effect of yajna is the rains. And when the clouds are formed, water evaporates, clouds are formed, and ultimately there is rain. When there is rain, the crops are sown, seeds are sown in the crops, and we get grains. And from grains, food is prepared. So food is prepared out of sacrifice or the duties as prescribed by performing duties as prescribed in the Vedas. So sacrifice is to be performed, then results into rain, and rain results into production of grains, and from grains we prepare food which sustains our existence or the body. So our purpose is not to consume this food prepared out of this cycle for ourselves. We should offer it first to the Lord, then take it as prasadam. One who is eating food or preparing food for his own sense enjoyment is verily doing some kind of sin. He is eating sin or doing pap karma. So this is cycle of sacrifice. So cycle of sacrifice says that everything should be offered to Lord before consumption, and should be cooked or prepared for pleasure and happiness of Lord Krishna, not for our own sense gratification. So this is the yajna which was performed, and we know that in Satyuga it was meditation, in Treta Yuga it was sacrifice, in Dwapar Yuga it was deity worship, and in Kali Yuga the Nam Sankirtan is the biggest yajna, because our memory is short, we are disturbed, we are unmotivated, we are prey to anger, and life is very short. Memory is very short. So that is why, and we are low intellect people in Kali Yuga. So the only thing which we can do, we can't meditate, we can't do sacrifices, we can't do really deity worship. The only yajna is Sankirtana or Nam Sankirtana. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, verse 32. Yajnai Sankirtana prayer Yajanti hi sumedasha. Sumedasha means the person who are of good intelligence or high intelligence. For them, yajna in this Kali Yuga is only Nam Sankirtana. So one should do. And Sankirtana, you can see here, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is with his devotees along with other sages. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So these are 5 tattvas, or 5. You can see the Lord Chaitanya is here in the middle. Then there is Nityananda Prabhu. Then there is Advait Prabhu. Then Gadadhar Prabhu and Srivasa Prabhu. These 5 Panch Tattva, this month we just now, before starting our class, we prayed to them for their mercy and for their kindness blessings. So only in Kali Yuga, the only mantra that can be, the only yajna that we can be performed is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, 108 times. So let us, all of us, unmute yourself, please. All the devotees, Prabhuji and Mataji, unmute, and so we'll sing this Hare Krishna Mahamantra once only. Please unmute, and with me, please sing this Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Ram, Ram
Rama,
Rama
Ram,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare.
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 Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
So my request to all of you is that because of so much of materially and grossly involved in worldly affairs, we are not able to perform meditation. We are not able to perform any sacrifice. We are very poor at performing deity worship. When we enter temple, we start looking here and there. Our mind is distracted by so many things. People over there, we think this is a statue. So many things, bad things come in our mind. We are not trained even to worship the deity. You know, the basic principle as described in by Rupa Goswami in Act of Devotion is that we should not look at the deity directly. We should look at the lotus feet of the Lord first, and gradually pray. After prayer, we should not look into so many restrictions and methods of right deity worship are described in that book. 64 items, of which 20 are mandatory, and out of 25 are very, very important. So anyway, this is not the topic for discussion here. My request to all of you is that let us at least one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra do every day. Through because this Mahamantra is described it is transcendental. It is transcendental. It is not given by any person. It is Lord Krishna. It is glory of Mahamantra is sung in Brahma Samhita, in Padma Puran, in Brahad Nardi Puran, so many other scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, and everywhere this mantra has been glorified. So even in 10th chapter, the opulences of the Lord or of the Absolute, that is Vibhuti Yoga, verse number 25 says, Yajne Nam Jap Yajno Asmi. Krishna says that or in the Japa, in the Yajna, after Ijna, I am the Jap. And Jap is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is what he's saying here. So it is the highest transcendental vibration. It is the Lord himself who is personified in this. So when we are meditating upon the form of Lord and singing this Mahamantra, we are so in a blissful state. The real happiness or Satchit Anand nature of our comes out by chanting this Mahamantra. So we should chant at least, we are in level 1, at least one round. And if you can chant more than one round, or even can divide 4 or 6 rounds into 2 parts because you are busy in office or your school or college. So even that is also permitted. But best time is Brahma Muhurta during the early hours. Brahma Muhurta means 2.5 hours before sunrise. So that is the time when this mantra should be sung. So, yeah, anybody would like to sing this verse?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mati. Ye pachanti atma karanat. One person who selfishly eats himself without offering food to the Lord. Bhujante te tva agham papam. They are doing agham pap. The pap is of highest degree if one is consuming prepared food himself without offering to Lord. We should not, because why? Because everything belongs to Lord. Nothing is ours in this world. It is temporarily by mercy of Lord that we have got those possessions for some time, but they are not our mind. They are all belong to. So this is Ishabhasha Idam Sarvam principle says that God has allocated certain quota to each and every one. We should not consume more than our quota because God has given. If we are consuming more than what we are required to, then we are consuming others' quota and it becomes a pap. So the devotees of Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal consumption, personal sense enjoyment, verily eat only sin. So this is a very beautiful verse, and the devotees of Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. That is prasadam. Now, plants, vegetables, they are also living entities. They also have got life. So we are plucking up fruits and plants and leaves and preparing or roots and preparing our food. So basically we are killing living entities. But if we offer them to Lord before consuming ourselves, the food becomes sanctified and our sins are nullified by offering to the Lord. And then it becomes prasada. When Lord has consumed it, Lord physically does not consume. Even he can consume by eyes, he can consume by his ears, he can consume by even touch of the skin, touch of the hand. So Lord is once offered, food is offered to the Lord as a prasada, it becomes prasadam or mahaprasad, and then we should consume it. So because it does not belong to us firstly, so everything belongs to us, so belongs to Lord, so we must offer everything to Lord first before consumption for our own sense. So this is something. Now, how this is an instruction to Arjuna also indirectly, that whatever you are doing, offer it to me, then it will not be a sin. You are killing presently you are thinking that you are killing your kins and brothers and elders and gurus and all those things. But since I am telling you and you are offering your act to me, you are working, your action is in Krishna consciousness, your act is as a matter of worship to me, so that it will not incur any kind of sin. So it becomes prasadam. Now, we know that we are living in a material world. So in this material world, we are exposed to so many kind of diversions and distractions. So now this is a beautiful analogy given by Srila Prabhupada and also described nicely by Ramnesh Das Prabhuji. Now there is a person, there are two types of persons. Both are working in office. There is lunch time. They go out for taking lunch. Now one is spiritually elevated. The other person is slightly, a materially motivated person. Yesterday, I think you will remember that we talked about that mind is better than the senses, intelligence is better than the mind, and soul is the superior most and is better than intelligence. So this is what is explained through this analogy. Now these two persons go and both of them notice that there is a juice shop of the juice, fruit juice is sold, and the other notices that it is a wine shop. So the person who is at the level of bodily platform, the person who is materially involved, he thinks that why not consume some liquor because I shall enjoy my senses thereby. He is at the level of bodily platform. So other person who is at the transcendental platform or not at the bodily level, he thinks I'm working in office, so I can't drink during working times. I will have to go to office and I can't work without with alcohol taken in. So I should not go. I should take juice. So the difference in the bodily platform is that the person who is on spiritual platform thinks beyond bodily platform. He thinks of the sense pleasure. He does not think of sense pleasure. Whereas person on the bodily platform, he thinks of sensual platform. So from body, he rises to consume that alcohol. After consuming alcohol, you can see on the picture how depressed and how perturbed he's looking. Now this person is watching this. Look, this man has consumed alcohol. It is not good thing. So he has control over his senses and he abstains for taking liquor. Instead, he goes to the juice shop. Now, above the body is the sense, and above the sense is the mental platform. That is a person who is considering something higher. Now, for the person on bodily platform or the materially involved person, his entertainment is just music after drinking. He thinks he wants to relax. So mentally, he is satisfied this kind of absurd music even. But this man who is wise, spiritually elevated, he goes to read some kind of scripture, a religion, book or religion, or some kind of philosophical book, and he thinks about himself. So he is rising from bodily platform to sensual platform. He's risen above the senses, and above the mind level. And at the mind level, now then he thinks, what I am doing, am I body meant for enjoyment of all these things, or I am something different from so he is applying his knowledge, intelligence towards realization of something higher through his intellect. But this person is confused now, bewildered, because after drinking and listening, he doesn't know what to do now. So he doesn't have any taste for, rising in the mental level or intellectual level. Next stage is about the spiritual platform. This man realizes ultimately that no, I'm not body. I'm something different. I'm something different from body, and probably that is self or maybe the soul. So this is how one person, and this person is totally confused, doesn't know. He again goes back to the wine shop and starts drinking again. So you see, this is the analogy which is given. That highest platform is the spiritual form. The basic platform is when we remain at the bodily consciousness level. Then, the bodily consciousness level, there are 4 things we are doing: meeting, eating, cheating, and defending ourselves. These animals are also doing these same 4 things. At sensual level, animals are not able to control their senses. But yes, the birds and some other animals have higher senses. They control their senses. You see that birds do not eat after sunset. They do not, they do not fly after. They have got a lot of control over themselves. So they have a routine. But person who do not have, in a mode of ignorance, they do not have any routine. Anytime they are always sleepy, indolent, and mad or crazy, and they don't have proper decision-making power. So they are not at the level. They are just at the bodily consciousness and involved in satisfaction of their senses or gratification of their senses only. So this is the chained bodily platform is mental platform. Sensual platform is higher than the bodily platform, and mental platform is higher than the sensual platform and higher the senses level of senses. Intellectual level, intelligence is better than the mind, and ultimately the soul is the supreme. Soul occupies the supreme position. Indriyani parani ahur, indriyabhya param manah, manastu para buddhir, yo buddhesh parastastu saha. Arthat, that the meaning is that the body or dull matter is the lowest state of consciousness, that is body consciousness. Mind is higher than there are senses which are higher than the body or dull matter. Then higher than senses is the mind, and higher than mind is the intelligence, and still higher is the soul, which is the highest level of. And this is pictorially depicted. You can see the senses here: the eye, nose, and this is mouth, this is ear, and this is skin or touch, and this is tongue. Through these sense organs, we consume or we feel the sense objects, different kind of objects. Above this mind is, above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is this intelligence. The riddles which you see here, they are the mind. So mind should control the senses, not the senses should control the mind. That is the purpose here. And mind should act under the guidance of the intelligence. And soul or the self should guide the intelligence. It should not get materially contaminated. Our soul is materially contaminated because when we come in contact with 3 modes of material nature, which is our basis of journey into this material planet, so we get contaminated. The soul forgets that I am part and parcel of Mami Vansho Jeev Loke Jeev Bhutamash, that I am part of the Lord Krishna. I am part of this, and the super soul Krishna himself is sitting in my heart as Updrashta and Anumanta. He is sitting in our heart as an observer and as quite loving father, as a permitter. He permits whatever soul desires to be, so that is permitted by the super soul. So the super soul is guiding always. Super soul always wants that soul should go back to Godhead. That is the real home, not suffer materially here in this material world. So soul is supreme, and soul should direct the intelligence, and as per the intelligence decisions, mind should act, and the mind should control the senses. rather than reverse way, the senses control the mind, intelligence, and soul. So this is how Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are at the moment moved by the overpowering senses. Think of the soul, because soul is eternal and soul is not going to die. These bodies will ultimately perish, even if you don't die, kill them. So this is what message is here over. Then be a role model. Now Lord Krishna is telling him to be a, yes, Mataji. Would you like to read, Mataji, this one? 21. Yes. Are you there? Or anybody?
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः सत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
Yes, sa yat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. Lok means the world or the worldly people. Anuvartate means they follow. So whatever the great men or the seniors or elevated souls do, that action is followed by the all the common people. Because the elevated soul or the big people or the king or uh, king or sages, whatever they do, that becomes an example for the others to follow. And now you can see this mother duck and so many siblings are just following because she is leading. So the meaning of this verse is that if you leave this battlefield because of all those 5 reasons, and if you don't fight, then people, we heard in the second chapter, people will scorn of you and they will talk in bad words for you. They will think that he was a coward and he left. Not that you, out of mercy or out of compassion for them, you left the battlefield. So whatever achana and whatever conduct you follow here in the battlefield, there shall be an example for others to come, other generations to come in the future to follow. So it is best you should. But if you fight, it shall be an example again for others to follow. So common men follow in the footsteps of what the leaders do. So whatever standards he sets, that standards become the path for common people. So Mahajana Yenigata Sapantha, or the elderly people or the great people, the path tread by these great people becomes a path for common men also to follow in their life. So another message to Arjuna is that you must fight and be a role model for the future generation. Don't run away from this battlefield. So this is message which is given by Lord Krishna too. And for example, just take from our day-to-day life example. Now, if you ask a child who is doing certain kind of activity and ask him why you are doing it, what it is, my father also does it. So that is why I have copied him. Because father is role model for that child, or even good thing or bad thing, whatever child does, he copies from someone. He copies from some elders. He sees them. So this is what the message to Arjuna is, that if you run away, it shall be a bad tradition. It shall be a bad example for others because they will follow you. They will not fight. They will forget their duty, prescribed duty as per Veda, as per Varna Ashrama. So you have to fight here and don't leave a bad legacy for the others to follow.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, sorry to disturb.
No.
This slide and the previous slide, the last English line, it is actually not able to be seen
Oh,
properly. So
I
can
get.
it be amended and
Prabhuji, I'm
sent
sorry.
again in the group, please?
Yeah, I will change this. In fact, I did not do editing of the slides because they were given as such. So I've just passed it on. Anyway, I will edit and make text visible to the. This is purport. This translation is given in Bhagavad Gita as it is, and by Srila Prabhupada. So whatever I'll read from the Bhagavad Gita itself. Just a minute. Yada acharati shreshtas, whatever conduct or acharan the shrest or the senior people or leaders do, tadatad avarto jana, that is followed by the common man, sa yat pramanam kurute lokas tad anvartate. The translation is, whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So I'll just change this definition, I mean that translation, and make it appear in one single word. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna for pointing out. I should have done it earlier, in fact. Yes, Mataji would like to read this one, verse number 36.
Prabhuji, just one request.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Somebody else?
Sorry to stop. Actually, one request I was having, if other Prabhujis or Matajis are also given a chance to read the...
Yes, it is open. I am not pointing out. Just continue. Anyone who wants to recite. It is an open offer, Prabhuji. Anyone who would like to recite.
Okay, Prabhuji, may I try, please?
Yeah, sure, please do. Sure, Prabhuji.
Dhumina vrityate vahaner yatha adorso malena cha yatho olben navratto garbhas tatha tenadam avartam.
Verse number 36. Yatha ken prepto. This is verse number 16. At ken prepto. Yes.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Okay. Please continue. Prabhuji started, I think other Prabhuji started.
Yeah, you can, and if anybody else also wants to recite, please do. There is no problem. You're welcome.
Dhumena vriyate vanher yatha darso malena cha yathol benavrato garbhas tatha tenadam avartam.
So, two words are used in this: aniksham, without, willingly, that is even unwillingly. Balad means forcefully. So the Arjuna said, "O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, if engaged by force?" So without, now he's again mentioning that aniksham or balad. He says, "O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?" So living entity as part and parcel is originally spiritual, pure and free from all material contaminations. Initially, the soul is not contaminated, but it becomes contaminated only when it comes in contact with three modes of material nature. And that contamination leads to, what is the contamination? We have seen that contamination is by having contemplation. First contemplation begins, then there is attachment, and then attachment leads to lust. So it is the lust which is the cause of everything. Now, why we are perforce forced to do certain activity which we don't want to? That is the role of three modes of material nature. And the main culprit for this is our lust for the material enjoyment. Now we see here three pictures. First picture is this is fire. It is covered by smoke. Second picture, you can see there is a mirror which is covered by certain dust. And third picture, you can see there is a embryo or baby lying in the womb of a mother, right? So there are 3 degrees of lust. These pictures represent 3 degrees of lust. First degree, in the first degree, you can see the lust is like a smoke. And smoke cannot happen unless there is a fire. So there is a desire, or there is an object of attachment, and which is leading to this lust. Now this lust or the smoke is, though we cannot, sometimes we can do not visualize this fire, but it is, fire cannot be perceived at times because it is hidden by the smoke. But Krishna conscious, that means it represents human level of consciousness of Krishna. Human level of, there is a small degree of Krishna consciousness at this level, because there is fire, there is Krishna consciousness, but it is covered by some kind of lust, which is in the form of this smoke. So it can be easily removed if one is sincere in Krishna consciousness, wants to develop a spiritual mode of life. So this is a relatively easier aspect. That means for human beings, it is easy to develop Krishna consciousness as compared to this second analogy, which is the mirror covered with the dust. Now there is a storehouse. A mirror is lying there for years. It is covered by a lot of dust. So it is not quite easy to remove this dust. And this is the state of lust. This degree of lust exists in the birds and animals, right? And third degree is that of a tree. This the embryo in the womb represents a tree. Tree, this baby cannot move about. It is a very limited space for movement in the womb of the mother. So this state of lust is represented in the form of trees. But tree is fixed and it doesn't move at all. So because of lust in the past lives, and due to past karmas, the living entity got the form of that tree. Now, this is a state of a degree of lust. So lust may be spiritual or lust may be material. So what we are supposed to do, as we mentioned about Chaitanya Charitamrita in the yesterday's session, that lust is defined as something which is for love for material objects, and love is defined as something which is the lust for spiritual matters or for God. So that this lust material lust or spiritual lust can be manifested in these three ways. So embryo is covered by womb. It is very difficult situation because it cannot even move inside and the living entity is like trees in this case. So this is first highest degree of lust. The second better degree of lust is in the form of mirror, which represented by animals and birds, and the least degree of lust is in human beings. So our lust should be for spiritual matters, for Lord Krishna, or for rendering loving service to Krishna, not for our own self-entanglement or sense gratification. The picture represents that human has a chance to proceed spiritually, whereas tree and birds and animal have got little chance to progress from bodily consciousness to spiritual consciousness. So this is the picture or analogy here. Now, this is a summary of chapter number 3. So in the Ekam Vad, what should I do? I should renunciation, or I should take sannyas and go out of the field and not fight and do my meditation, or I should fight or do action in Krishna consciousness. So action done in Krishna consciousness is better than renunciation, because renunciation or sannyas or meditation is very difficult for us to. We can't meditate even for 5 minutes. Leave aside 5 minutes, even for 1 single minute, 60 seconds, our mind does not remain focused on one particular object of meditation, right? So meditation, renunciation is like running away from the duty which are prescribed in the Vedas. So one should perform duty and do duty selflessly or in the Nishkam karma pattern, and offering the results to God, not consuming. We have just now seen that is agham pap if we don't offer the prasadam cooked food to the Lord and then take it as prasadam. So we should act in Krishna consciousness rather than renunciation. The second was about the Nishkam karma yoga and Gyan yoga. Gyan yoga, the knowledge of soul, that soul is such and such and such. We should think of soul only doing nothing, inertia, and knowledge should be utilized for inertia and for meditation only. That is not good. Better than this Gyan is rather Nishkam karma yoga, that is non-fruitive activities, results being offered to Lord Krishna. So that is better. And when we talk about karma, there are three types of karma. First is karma, the duties which are prescribed in Vedic scriptures for each varna and ashram. They are our karma. They are result into fruitive activities. Karma results into some kind of benefit or fruits, and which person wants to enjoy. So it is a binding. It results into our actions, result into our bondage into the cycle of birth and death. So it is not recommended. Second karma is bikarma, something done contrary to the injunctions of Vedic scriptures, that is bikarma. And the person in mode of ignorance, he does bikarma, drinking, eating, and killing, enjoying illicit sex. All these are bikarmas. They are not prescribed in. And third category, the supreme category, is akarma. Action is done, but the result is not enjoyed by the doer. So, and the results are offered to the Lord because it is on account of Lord that this act was performed, and for the Lord it was performed. So that becomes a karma. So Nishkam Karma Yoga talks about a karma, not vikarma, not karma. Then Karm Kand to Karma Yoga. Now Karm Kand is karma, which is done as part of the prescribed duty, resulting into our enjoyment of fruits. And so it should be Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means we should offer results to the Lord of our karma. Then it will be Karma Yoga, not will be Karma Kand. It will not be binding then. And we shall be not, there shall be no bondage to the cycle of birth and death. Then Lord said, Yad yad acharati shrestasa, then lead by example. So you should fight here, because you are going to be a role model for future generations, that under these circumstances, Arjuna did this thing and killed the people who were on the side of a religion. And then lastly, Lord talked about 36 to 43, Iha Varinam, which is the biggest enemy of ours. The lust is the biggest enemy. So that is the greatest enemy. One should come over this enemy. There should be no lust. The lust should not be for material purposes. Lust should be for spiritual purposes. For the service of Lord, one should be so lustful that every minute he wants to do loving service to Lord Krishna only. He doesn't want to enjoy for himself or do anything for himself. So this lust is divine. And lust is, because it is spiritual, it is offered for the person will not eat food without offering to Lord, will not sleep without doing the shayan of Lord himself. So all this kind of, bhav bhakti, it becomes a stage of bhav bhakti. Such, this is divine love for God. And that is why we always talk about loving devotional service to Krishna. Devotional
Prabhuji, one
service.
query in this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, just as a clarity, I'm asking again, asking that you are saying that devotional lust is good, but material lust is something which is to be avoided. Is that correct?
Yes, Prabhuji, because material lust results into that cycle, that is the stages of material pool or fall down, right?
Yes, yes. So devotional lust is good. That
Yes,
one can inculcate and
yes,
follow.
yes. Always
Okay.
thinking of Lord, always thinking of Lord. Now, always, whenever we are on a work platform or traveling or sitting, let us always think of Lord. How can I please Lord? How can I, in materialist, we'll think of pleasing some near and dear ones. How can I
Yes. So
serve
the greatest enemy is mentioned here as the material lust.
material lust? Yes, probably. Lust is two
Okay,
types.
okay.
Lust,
Okay.
and also I mentioned about Chaitanya Charitamrita, that their lust is equated with love. Our love is not real love. Real love is for God only. Thinking, loving,
Mhm.
doing. Now preparing food, cleaning the deity, bathing the deity, feeding the, dressing them beautifully, preparing prasadam for them. That is real love. So our
Okay,
greatest
okay.
enemy is lust, and the cycle of lust we have already studied in chapter 2. The lust begins from the contemplation, the thought. So how this thought process can be controlled? This thought process can be controlled only by sadhu sangha, association of pure devotees. So the bhakti stages, that those 8 stages I mentioned about was in the first day also. So the mercy association service and mercy of pure devotees, that results into Shraddha. We can't develop faith in our Lord unless we have the mercy and we do render service to pure devotees, our spiritual master. Then Shraddha develops. From Shraddha comes Sadhu Sangha, association of pure devotees. From Sadhu Sangha comes Bhajan Kriya. We start worshipping Lord. From Bhajan Kriya, there is Anarth Nivritti, all kind of our enemies, those Shad Dosh, or 6 enemies, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsar. So though they get freed away. When they are free, when there is Anarth Nivritti, we have Nishtha, we have solid faith.
টেন্ডেন্সি হয়ে গেছে নাকি?
Nishtha, then Ruchi, and then Asakti, and from Asakti comes the Bhava Bhakti, and from Bhava Bhakti comes the Prem Bhakti. So it is ultimate state. So, and contemplate this, how do we fall down from the spiritual platform to the material pool? That is stated, that was stated in the last chapter, in the form of when we contemplate that attachment develops, attachment leads to, lust, lust leads to anger, anger leads to delusion of memory, and that leads to bewilderment. We forget everything, then loss of intelligence, and ultimately person falls down from the material into the material pool. So this one has to guard against lust. This lust or love should be for God only, not for material substances or things. So I'm sorry, it is a big chapter. I would have loved to go shloka by shloka, verse by verse. It is so nicely explained here, Karmkand. So I've tried to just give you a brief summary or, a basic concepts of this chapter only. So remember, there are how we fall down from the material pool, and what is the cycle of developing, bhakti. And please remember 3 types of karma: akarma, and vikarma. Karma, those duties which are prescribed for varna and ashrama, but they are fruitive activities. They result into certain kind of, benefits or results which person wants to enjoy. And second is vikarma, which is done contrary, the activities which are done contrary to the injunctions of scripture and which are not permitted or prohibited. And the result is person goes into mode of ignorance. And such people do these activities. And the last, the supreme activity is akarma, which is also called as nishkam karma yoga. So from karma to karma yoga to karma yoga to nishkam karma yoga. This is the ladder of our action. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So that is all for the chapter number 3. And please do read these chapters. Online Veda base is there. If you are having Bhagavad Gita as it is, please procure that book from the temple or any other place where you can get hold of it. All ISKCON temples have a shop where you can buy this book. It shall be your lifelong companion. So please read it from that. Whatever we are talking is just from what purpose, from the purpose of Lord Srila Prabhupada only, who has given us this knowledge to all of us. So this isn't his transcendental message of Lord Krishna, transmitted to us as such as it is in the disciplic succession of which Srila Prabhupada is the eminent leader, eminent teacher for all of us. Hare Krishna. Any quick questions and the attendance link, and Mataji is also posting, quizzes. So please do go through those quizzes. Attendance link is already posted. You may please fill in your attendance because
Prabhuji, is the quiz link active now?
I don't know. Mataji will be able to tell. Chitra Mataji or Kalpana Mataji.
Yes. I think the last message we got was the quiz link was some technical issue was there. After that, we didn't get any update 2 days back.
I see there was initially a message like that in the group. Now probably it should be working. They worked over it, so it should be working now.
Okay. We have not got the updated message, I suppose.
Okay. We tried. Any questions or any corrections, suggestions, observations, or anything? You're welcome to ask. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji. Anybody would like to add something? Where are our students? Optometry student, and there was another student who was physiotherapy or something. They are not there today.
Prabhuji, just one query. Yesterday you were mentioning that we can get in touch with you, we can speak to you. So may I know from where? We don't have your contact number.
Oh, well, you can note down. My number is, cell number is. Are you
Yes.
ready to note?
Yes, yes, please.
Prabhuji, it is 9639
Okay,
010
okay.
213. So, thank you very much for your association. If there is no question, we can call it a day. Hare Krishna to all of
Thank
you.
you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Got your number.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
So closing prayer before we close. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubha ev cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव जन वृंद की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, सभी भक्त वृंदों की जय,
Jai.
and Dandavat pranam to all of you, devotees assembled.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Glories
Hare
to all of
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. We meet
Hare
tomorrow
Krishna,
again
Prabhuji.
at 9 p.m. and we'll talk about chapter number 4, the Gyan Yoga. Hare Krishna.